Now we're going to have a little visit from Jason George, I believe.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing very well.
Nice to see you.
And you look lovely too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I like the footnoted compliment as always. You
Right,
look
right.
amazing,
It's
and
like-
you as well.
And wow, and oh yeah, you're here too.
You're here too.
But seriously though, let's talk about you. No.
So you are the chair of diversity for SAG-AFTRA. Tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about this.
I am the Diversity Advisory Committee Chair for SAG-AFTRA, so I'm just excited because we have 160,000 members of SAG-AFTRA that come from every possible walk of life. You can imagine every color, and when Hollywood serves up movies that show the full breadth and diversity of the human experience, we recognize it. So when they serve up A Beast of No Nations, we give it a nomination. Straight Outta Compton, we give it a nomination. So I just love that because we have such a diverse membership, we end up with a diversity of nominees.
And people in Hollywood are talking about just how diverse these awards are and how they have done a good job of representing sort of the breadth of the product out there, the cultural stuff that has been made from every stripe of America. What do you think? What do you hope for in the future for SAG and for Hollywood in terms of addressing these issues?
What I really hope for is that it's sad that an event has to make this conversation be a national conversation. I mean, it's a conversation that this country's been having for the last couple of years about diversity, how do we live with difference, that sort of thing.
Right.
I want this conversation to continue forward even after award season. I want to continue to have the conversation about how do we make sure that, the movies and TV that we look at look like America. I mean, TV's been getting it right for the last couple of years. Woody and I talk about this all the time.
Exactly. And one of the keys to making that happen is having people in power who can create that change and create the opportunities for directors and writers and producers of color and of all diversities to tell their stories so that we have a more broad range of these stories out there.
And I think one of the key things to remember, and this is what I've been screaming from the rooftops, is that people think in terms of black and brown, and I'm trying to bring it back to green. Exactly. Diversity makes money.
Right.
Diversity makes money. We have a million things that can occupy our attention now. That can, I can zone out on my, internets, the interwebs, for hours. But if you want me to go out to the movies, you've got to give me something that I appreciate. So that could be a $200 million big green screen movie, or maybe you spend $7, $10, $20 million on a movie that I can see myself. My wife, who's East Indian, can see herself. And so when that happens, those movies make far much more money compared to what they cost.
Right. And you've been both very thoughtful about the fact that culture really can be the point of spear for this kind of change. Sometimes television can be ahead of where we are as a culture, and people can catch up to it by seeing actors in roles they haven't seen, by seeing family situations they're not accustomed to.
Look, I wouldn't be the first person to say, I'm sure people far smarter than I drew the line between a black president on 24 or Morgan Freeman playing the president any number of dozen times.
Or God.
He's either the president or God. Basically, Morgan Freeman's in charge, right? We're all just hanging out in his world. But between that and Barack Obama becoming the first black president of the United States, I mean, and how did we get to a black president on 24? Maybe it was because everybody wanted this black man, Heathcliff Huxtable, to be their dad back in the 80s.
Right.
And the problem is that people make assumptions about what is going to happen if you make this step that is probably the right step, but so when actors go into the casting room, the casting directors are saying, yeah, I would love to cast you, you're fantastic, but the writer and director and the producer, and when you go to the writer and the director, they're saying, yeah, but the producers, and you go to the studio execs, and the studio execs finally say, yeah, but America or the world isn't ready to see that. And the reality is, when you put it out there, the world loves it.
Absolutely.
Good thought.
By the way, about television being ahead of the game, I think, because it's a much more personal medium. It feels safer. It's in people's homes, and they can sort of experiment with worlds outside of their own, and in a way that maybe they wouldn't necessarily do with going to a film.
So television's been getting it right, but as we have more things that can occupy our attention, we've had to pay attention to diversity to make sure you still make that money. Television's been doing that for a little bit, and I think film is going to start to realize that you can either keep pumping money into the bigger pictures, or tell smaller, more intimate stories that actually show everybody the rest of what America really looks like. I mean, well, one of the things I'm proud of is that, SAG-AFTRA, we have 160,000 members, and all of the awards we give for performances, or all the awards that we give for people's their service to the acting community or their service to society in general, we give one award to producers. That one award is called the American Scene Award. And this year, Transparent won it for basically being an inclusionary show. For when you show what America really looks like, we give you the American Scene Award. But tonight is fun because with all the nominees you see, we get to give a wide swath of love to a lot of different diverse.
So important as well. Gentlemen, thank you both so much.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Pleasure.
Good luck with everything and have fun.
Yeah, tonight's gonna be
And have fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Take care.